Praise the Almighty Yah. Praise Yah for this blessed morning. We all got to wake up. If you're listening, you're hearing this voice today, you're alive. Praise Yah. I want to thank the Almighty Yah for carrying us through the night and into the day. And I pray that the Creator continues to guide our way and lighten up our path so that our nation can lead the earth, because the Almighty desires that the nation of Israel be the rulers over the earth. And that's not a light thing, Yah. So I pray that you will equip our nation with the tools, the resources they need, Yah, in order to carry out what you desire for us to carry out, Yah. I know that everything that you do is holy and right. You are just Elohim and you judge in righteousness. No matter if we accept it or not, it's going to be what it's going to be, because this is your world. We are your people and you are our creator. So praise your almighty name, Yah. All glory goes to you at all times. Hallelujah. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Yah, my strength and my redeemer. Praise you, Yah. Welcome back to another live. Hallelujah. So, praise Yah. We got to do a back-to-back live. The title of the video is Judgment and Yah's Great Law. In Ecclesiastes, which is where we're going to start, we're going to go to chapter 8. Oh, and I just want to make a correction. I was listening to the previous video, and I caught that I said that 6 people were saved after the flood. 6 people were saved alive, when I was wrong. It was 8. I guess I wasn't counting a couple. I was just so excited. I didn't even think about it. But I meant to say 8 people were saved. But anywho, in Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, I would like to start in verse 11, where it says, "Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the Son of Men is fully set in them to do evil." And what does that mean? Right? What does that mean? It means because our sins are not punished quickly, right? We're not punished quickly for our sins. The world is full of evil. So you see what happens when we're left to do whatever we want, to do as thou wilt on this earth. Left to our own devices, left to govern ourselves without righteous laws. We see how the earth is run today. We see the results of that. And how we run the earth on our own is not right. We need righteous laws. We need it. It's just like if you have a pet. And don't get me wrong, I don't look at anybody like I am above anyone. We're pets to the Almighty. That's how I see it. We're like an untamed animal that needs to be tamed. Because when we're left to govern ourselves, we don't do things the right way. We don't. We're just a little above a beast, an animal, and a little below the angel. Okay? Well, maybe we're a lot above the animal, right? But we're right here on the earth dwelling with the animal, okay? And we share some similarities with them. And we all come from the dust, just like them, right? Because you got to remember, the animals were created before us, okay? So, yes, we come from the soil, the dust, just like the animal. We share similarities. You'll ask scientists, they'll tell you we share some DNA. Well, I'm sure we share a lot of things because we all come from the earth. But does that mean that we're animals? Absolutely not. But we can have we can share some traits, some similarities to animals in the way that we conduct ourselves, the way that we act, right? Because we're only human, we're only living on this earth. We don't dwell in the heavens, right? So I like to compare us to untamed animals when it comes to the Creator that need to be trained, that need to be tamed. And so since we don't have this swift judgment, we just think we can just get away with anything. And that couldn't be further from the truth, because what we don't realize is we're always being watched. And punishment will always come back to us, whether we realize it or not. Because the Elohim is just in his judgment. Do you understand? We're the ones that are not just. And the Most High wants us to see that and understand that. We're not just in our judgment. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20. Ezekiel chapter 20. And I want to start in the 33rd verse, because a lot of us got to consider this. We got to start understanding. Captivity is a temporary thing. Okay. It's temporary. We're not going to be slaves in a land that's not ours forever, Israel. This is a temporary trial. This is a temporary sentence because, as you can see, we've been punished. We have been greatly punished, severely punished, destroyed. This is not a reward. Being in the lands of our captivity is not a reward. It's not something that we should try and fix and say, oh, well, since we were born in captivity, we should continue to be in captivity with our enemies and allow them to brutally punish us and treat us ill and treat us harshly and wickedly. We should just accept this type of treatment. No, that's not just. Don't you understand? That is not just. If you're serving a sentence, okay? And if you were told that your sentence would be for a certain period of time, would you then go on to say, well, since I've been in prison and I did my sentence, I fulfilled my sentence of 40 years, I might as well just keep on going for life. I don't think any prisoner would say that. But Israel, that's how we are. Well, we've been here for 400 years. We might as well keep on going. We might as well just continue being slaves and being treated unfairly in a wicked manner. We might as well. What sense does that make? The Most High is just. Do you understand? The Most High is just, and the Most High is... Here's the thing a lot of people don't understand. The Most High is just, and the Most High is not inhumane. Man is inhumane. When the Most High rules in the earth, when the Most High is ruling, and there is no wicked man to be found to be a ruler, there will be no more inhumane treatment without consequence. And this is what we should all desire. You understand? This current rulership, leadership, whatever you want to call it, they believe they are God, as if they created man, as if they created this program, this earth, but they didn't. See, this earth was already created with a set of laws in place that should have been acknowledged and performed. But we, as people, failed to do so. We failed to perform the laws of YAH. And so now we have to deal with the consequence of that, which is these unjust laws of man. So we got to get back to doing what's right. And the Most High is letting us know how we're going to transition into that. And of course, in the beginning, it's going to feel overwhelming because you're talking about the Creator. You're talking about the Creator. If you're talking about the wrath of an oppressor, imagine the wrath of God. Imagine the wrath of the Most High, the one who created all things. Surely the Creator has a wrath greater than the oppressor. And when the Creator transitions us back into our rightful positions, Israelites and heathens alike, then the world will be at peace. We'll all be happier. We're all going to be performing the laws that we were intended to perform and carry out. Okay? Everything will be fair and just, the way that it's supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be, y'all. All right? So in Ezekiel chapter 20, I'm going to start at verse 33. And it reads, "As I live, saith Yah Elohim." Well, let me start at verse 32. This just makes this whole vision more clear. Makes it a lot clearer. And verse 32, it reads, "And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that you say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone." Because what you don't realize is when you take on the ways of the heathen, again, the heathens have never had such a great responsibility to rule the earth. We're talking about groups of people who the Most High did not deal with like he dealt with the children of Israel. And so they could only rule in a way that their forefathers taught them to rule. And since it's their tradition and since it's been passed down, they feel it's right. They think it's right. They've been taught unjustly, unjust laws, unfair treatment, and things that are not good. And so when you go over and you try to copy their ways and adopt their ways, well, you're going to be treated more unfair than their own, because you're not one of them. You understand? So they didn't have the righteous laws of the Creator. You did, Israel. You had these righteous laws, and we fumbled them. We fumbled them. We did the wrong thing. We did the things we weren't supposed to do, and we continue to, unfortunately, many of us. But when we get back to the righteous laws of the Creator, then we start to see a difference. Then we start to understand why things are the way they are. You can't complain about how the Most High is going to judge us harshly but fairly, but then turn around and try to fix these unjust laws in the lands of our captivity with the heathen. How does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. If you just adopt and you just own and you just claim and you just embrace the righteous laws of YAH, everything falls into place naturally. Everything. So stop serving the gods of wood and stone, the idols, right? And this is what the Most High says. As I live, saith Yah Elohim, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. So the Most High is going to rule over us with fury poured out. Because this is the only way to get a lot of us to understand. Hold on. This is the only way to get a lot of us to understand. Because a lot of us don't want to serve the Creator. A lot of us don't want to follow the righteous laws of YAH. When you are at a certain age, when you have gone through certain experiences, you start seeing the bigger picture. You have to go through some things to appreciate some things. And when you go through these things, you start to have a better understanding of how the Most High's world works. That's the blessing of wisdom. That's the blessing of being a wise elder. They see the bigger picture. They understand. And so a wise elder can appreciate the way things are run with these righteous laws, because they've seen how the world is run with unrighteous laws. They've been treated unfairly. They've experienced harsh captivity. And when they read about the laws of YAH, they understand how it's fair and just and righteous and perfect, and how everything falls into place. So it would be wise to listen and consider as we go along in this Bible study the things we're about to read. So in verse 35 it reads, "And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith Yah Elohim. So the Most High will bring us again, which this has not happened yet. The Most High will bring us again into the wilderness, and the Most High will judge us, and He will judge us fairly, the way we're supposed to be judged. Because the Most High is not just being mean, and people like to say the Most High is cruel and all these things. The Most High is showing us how to judge. Because obviously, this current rulership doesn't understand how. And they don't care to judge right. If presented with the laws of Yah and shown the laws of Yah, this current system, this system in the world that rules today would still not change. They still wouldn't change. They would rule exactly how they're ruling, even if that meant they had to be as crafty as the serpent and hide their evil ways and deceive the people into thinking that they're not as wicked as they are. They do it all the time. So even presented with righteous laws, they're not going to change. Their words don't mean anything. And after centuries of being ruled over by this wicked group of people, we should understand there will be no change. They will continue to be wicked. And so there has to be a change in rulership. Yes, there has to be a change in rulership. There has to be. That's the only way for the earth to be at peace. And yes, you have to have rulers. What do people think? Do people think that we could just live in a world where people are just doing whatever? Let me give you an example. America, Babylon's always a great example because in Babylon, anything goes. In America, anything goes, pretty much. They say it's the freest land on the earth. Now, even though it's a land of captivity, people say it's the freest land on the earth, which is the biggest lie ever told. There you go. They make you believe that you can do whatever without you seeing all of their wickedness. That's the deceit and the way that they judge and the way that they rule. They make you think you're free. They make you think you can do whatever you want to do. But see, you can only do so much until it's against them. They don't care if you follow righteous laws. That's the thing about Babylon. You can do anything unjust and wicked and get away with it. But you do something against them, I guarantee you're not going to get away with it. That's the difference. Now, example, Babylon. Like I said before, you can do anything that's unrighteous and pretty much get away with it. They have laws protecting you. People who commit wicked acts, there are laws protecting them, right? And they get away with it. Look how the world is. Look how society becomes corrupt when you have unjust laws in place. When people can just do what they want to do and they don't have to have any type of moral compass. They don't have to follow righteous laws. Do you see how society just decays? Community erodes. We've lived through this. We've witnessed it. We see how that turns out. So without, and see, if you didn't have certain laws in place, certain rulership in place, the whole land would dissolve. And Babylon understands that. So they have overseers, they have officers, the police. You can call the police for civil matters. And things, these disagreements between people in the communities that end up in a brawl, or certain situations, to keep some type of order in their system. Even Babylon has that, and it's a wicked nation. So we have to understand. That's why in the beginning, I just told you, I compared us to wild animals that need to be, we're untamed animals. Without some type of rulership, society destroys itself. People destroy each other. Everything is corrupt. So there has to be a common law. There has to be a universal law that everyone goes by. And what works the most are the laws of YAH, which is why you have many nations, all nations really, that adopt from the laws of YAH. They adopt some of the laws of YAH to maintain some order. They understand that. So there needs to be a change in rulership. And I accept that. If we accept that we need rulership of some sort, we need some type of rulership, we need guidance, but it has to be righteous guidance, then we'll be on the right track. We will be on the right path. Because again, we didn't create ourselves, right? And so why would it hurt you to follow the right path? Why would it hurt you to follow the manual custom made for this earth? Why would it hurt you? Why would it pain you unless you want to do whatever you want to do and be corrupt? No, we should want rulership, but we should want righteous rulership and just judgment. There is nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, that's the only thing that's going to fix the world. So, if you're one of those people who believe, well, we don't need anybody to rule over us, we can just all, float on floaties by the ocean, sipping on pina coladas in a hammock, and just drag around like zombies and do as thou wilt, whatever makes you happy, without any supervision or consequence, you're part of the problem. That's not peace at all. As a matter of fact, that's chaotic and it's out of order. We need some type of order on the earth. We need organization. I don't care what anybody says. We need organization. Does that mean that we can't be happy on this earth? Absolutely not. It just means that we have to continue building a better civilization. Being civilized. Not allowing people to think they can just do whatever they want to do. Because the people over here in this group who feel like there shouldn't be any supervision are a detriment to everyone else, whether they realize it or not. You understand? You can call yourself a flower child and flower power all day and a hippie and all of that, but running around with no morals and no consequence is not peace. That's deceitful. That's not peace. We need order. Because things like that get out of control fairly quickly. Because you get the wrong people involved and there's no one checking anyone and there's no consequence, it gets out of control, gets into the wrong hands, and then you have lots of corruption. So we cannot have a flower power society. We can have a peaceful society with order, but people have to follow righteous laws. People have to have morals. And it can't just be, we can't go to war type of morals. Sure, we're not going to go to war. We're not going to learn war anymore. That's a part of the righteous laws. We're not going to be warring nation and nation. Once the Most High's kingdom is established, there won't be wars. We won't have a need for wars. But we're going to wear clothes, okay? And we're not just going to be running around like wild animals. That's not how we do things. That's very heathenistic practice. Okay, so in Ezekiel chapter 20, we just read how the Most High is going to rule over us with fury poured out because we're like little bad kids who need discipline, right? Let's go to Psalm chapter 9. Psalm chapter 9. Right? And let's read in verse 8. It says, and he shall bring, or he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. He shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. So there's no need to have, because like I was saying before with the flower child movement and all of that, the hippie movement, that was a movement of rebelliousness. But it wasn't just a movement of rebelliousness to the current wicked system. It was a movement of rebelliousness to YAH's laws. See, those people, they would not, now some of them, I can't speak for everyone because everybody's heart's different. Everyone's heart is different. So some people, they embrace the Most High's laws. They understand that righteousness is needed in the earth. They just don't want to be treated harshly or in a cruel manner anymore. And I understand that. But then you have people in movements like that, homosexuals and all, that they're a part of it because they don't want rules. They don't want any rules. And that's a very dangerous game to play. You understand? You have all types of people in this world. And so the Most High tells us he's going to rule in righteousness. He's going to judge the world in righteousness and minister judgment to the people in uprightness. That's something that we should desire because it puts things back in order for all of us. So all of us can be happy and all of us can have peace. Not just some of us, but everyone. And it checks all of those who have ulterior motives. That's what righteous laws do. Righteous laws fix what's broken. Righteous laws turn the crooked thing straight. That's what righteous laws do. And so having um, the judgment of YAH and YAH's great laws will heal society, right? It's a blessing, a great blessing. It's such a beautiful morning, y'all. Such a beautiful morning. Hallelujah. The day is just awesome. So let's go to Proverbs chapter 29. Proverbs 29. And I'm going to read verse 26. Okay? In Proverbs 29, let's read verse 26. It reads, "Many seek the ruler's favor, but every man's judgment cometh from the Creator." Many seek the ruler's favor, but every judgment comes from the Creator, comes from Yah. So while we're busy trying to get man to change, you understand? We're busy trying to get man to understand why they should treat us humane. Trying to be in their good graces, trying to help them to see the light in their error, the error of their ways and how they treat their fellow humans is really a waste of time. Because like I said before, this current rulership is not going to change. The wicked rulership on the earth today is not going to change. You have to understand that. Trying to fix what's broken is pointless. Only the Creator can do that. We can't do it based on what we think is right. We have to go based on the Most High's righteous laws. We have to depend on the Creator to transition us into a better society. Because the Creator created all things, it's up to the Creator to fix all things. If I have a Tesla and my Tesla breaks down, I'm not going to take my Tesla to a Ford dealership to get it fixed. I'm going to take it to the manufacturer, right? Why would I take my Tesla to a Ford? And then when they put your parts back together with paper clips and bubble gum at the Ford dealership and it breaks down again, you want to complain. But the mechanics at the dealership were not trained to fix Tesla. So why do you keep taking it there? It's the same thing with this rulership. You can't go to man and expect them to fix what the Creator created. You have to go straight to the manufacturer. You have to go to the Creator. And we call ourselves wise and intelligent. We're so smart. But the last thing we want to do is go to the one who created all things to fix things. We want to take it into our own hands. Well, we can fix all of this. No, we can't. Not going by our own beliefs. Because remember what we talked about yesterday. Man, we all have different belief systems. We all have different ideologies, different ideas about things and how things should go. If we're not all in agreement, how are we going to get anything done? We have been, for centuries, in disagreement. For centuries, we've had opposing views. And it still hasn't gotten us anywhere. It still hasn't worked. And we continue to do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. And we have hope that man will get it together in that way. Without organization, without true order, without being in agreement and alignment with one another. Well, I have to tell you that's a foolish way of thinking. Because can two walk unless they be agreed? No. You can't marry somebody who's a believer in Christ and you don't believe in Christ and you don't plan on believing in Christ and they don't plan on dropping Christ. That relationship is not going to work out. It's just not. Could you be can you be cordial with someone who believes in Christ and you don't believe? Absolutely. You can be friendly with someone who believes in Christ. Absolutely. But you cannot marry someone that's very intimate, come together with someone in unity who believes in Christ and get things done together to build a better society. It doesn't work like that because they're going to have their certain ideas about how things should be run. You're going to have a certain idea about how things should be run, and you're going to constantly clash. Common sense will tell you that. You're going to constantly clash, and you're always going to be at odds. And it's going to be a constant, never-ending battle until you both be agreed, until both come to an agreement. And that's hard to do when you both have different ideas about how things should be run. So in a society where everyone is doing whatever they want to do and there's no real order, it doesn't last. You can't sustain a society like that. You can't sustain any society without the help of the Creator. That's why these empires fall. Even if you all have the same belief system, it won't sustain. You can't maintain. Because you don't have the Creator. You have an artificial system. So you need something real. You need something authentic. You need the real thing. The original way of doing things. The way that the Creator originally created things. That's what we have to go by. Not our own ideas and our own way of doing things. Right? So, the Most High judges us in righteousness and fairness. We can try and gain the favor of rulers all day, but we're all going to be judged by the Most High. So it's our vanity when we don't look forward to the judgment of our Creator. It's our simple-mindedness. It's our folly. Because your rulers didn't create you. The Most High did. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 12, which I love. And Ecclesiastes 12 and 12. It reads, "The words of the wise are as goads, and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd." You understand? One shepherd. Not many, but one. That's true unity. The world, the earth messed up when we wanted to have separate rulers, separate world leaders. Now, is there something wrong with having many different positions of power? Absolutely not, because you have to delegate, right? But when it comes to a king, a ruler on the earth, there should only be one. There should only be one. You understand? Only one. We're intelligent beings. You understand? We are the highest form of intelligence on the earth. We know that. Not anything beyond the earth, but on the earth, because the Most High made man to rule the earth. So we are the most intelligent being on the earth. We know how to communicate from far distances. We understand certain things in the earth that other species don't. So, knowing this, it shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be complicated. It shouldn't be difficult for us to come together in unity. It shouldn't be difficult. It shouldn't be hard for us to understand why unity on the earth with our fellow humans is so important. We have been at odds for way too long. And that's what's causing all of the confusion and the wars. Because you're constantly battling over who's going to be the head. Constantly battling over who's going to have all these resources and the power and all of these, simple things that were already addressed in the beginning by the Creator. The Most High already had a hierarchy. The Most High already set things in order the way they were supposed to be. We're the ones making it complicated. We are. Everybody has a position in this place. The Most High is just. Not inhumane, but just. And if the Most High created you to be in a certain position, that's what it is. And you accept your position. I accept my position. I'm a servant to the Most High YAH. I accept my position in this earth. When you accept your position, it's not hard to see the bigger picture and to understand why it's so important for us to all come together. Nobody is going to allow anything bad to happen to you. Don't be afraid. Come together with us. All of us should be coming together. When we're going by these righteous laws, you'll be taken care of. We'll all be taken care of. You understand? All of us will be taken care of. There's nothing to fear except the Creator. There's nothing but love and peace on the earth and righteous laws. Verse 12 of Ecclesiastes 12. And further by these, my son, be admonished. Of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. Put all that stuff down. Put down all those books of idolatry. Leave it alone. And come together with the nation of Israel. I don't care who you are. If you're an Israelite, if you're not an Israelite, come together with the nation of Israel. Put all that stuff down. You don't need that. All you need are the righteous laws of your Creator. That's what makes you wise. That's what makes you righteous. That's what brings peace on this earth. When we humble ourselves and understand that all of us are a peg in this bigger picture. All of us are a tool. All of us are a puzzle piece in the bigger picture. Have you ever heard people say, I would rather be a door holder. I'd rather keep the door in the kingdom of YAH than bear the shame of the wicked in judgment. Just dwelling amongst the righteous is a blessing. Don't you understand? Can you imagine the good news, the good vibes, the good energy, the good food, the good everything, the good marriages, the good families, the good friendships, all of the good. See, right now you're living in a world right now where you can't trust anybody. So all of us are traumatized and our nerves are bad. People tell you don't trust your neighbor. You can't trust your friends. They're backstabbers. You can't trust anything. Everything is deceitful. You can't trust the news. You can't trust the things that your eyes see. You can't trust anything. Oh my gosh. Like that's the type of world that we're currently living in. That's the type of, and it's the truth. That's the type of society that we live in, unfortunately. Man has done this. We've corrupted things to the point where we can't even trust ourselves. Okay? But don't you understand that only the Most High can heal us and put us on the right path and guide us in a direction of light that's never going to break us? It's never going to deceive us. The wicked could never understand that. It's only something that the righteous family could understand. Those who want to do the right thing. It's only something that we could understand. And it's unspoken. Because that's what we all desire. And we understand we have to bow our heads and be humble and accept where the Most High places us on this earth, no matter what. Whether you're a servant or a slave. You understand? The Most High is going to place us all in certain positions. Whether you're rich or you're poor. black or white. It don't matter, male or female. The positions that the Most High is going to have us play are all going to be righteous positions. And let's go over why. So, in verse 13, it reads, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Elohim and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. For Elohim shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil." So the Most High is letting us know, in this Solomon Ecclesiastes, the Most High is letting us know that every judgment, everything that we do on this earth will be brought into judgment. It's going to be brought into the light. The Most High is going to judge us based on our evil and our good. Every secret thing, the Most High will judge. Can man do that? No, man cannot do that because man doesn't see all the secret things. Only the Most High does. Only the Most High. Go to Isaiah 26. Only the Most High sees those secret things. And so only the Most High can judge those secret things. And that's called righteous judgment. That's judging fairly, justly, right? In Isaiah chapter 26, I'm going to start at verse 1. It reads, "In that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city. Salvation will Elohim appoint for walls and bulwarks. Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation, which keepeth the truth, may enter in. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Trust ye in Yah forever, for in Yahweh is everlasting strength. For he bringeth down them that dwell on high. The lofty city, he layeth it low. He layeth it low, even to the ground. He bringeth it even to the dust. The foot shall tread it down, even the feet of the poor, and the steps of the needy. The way of the just is uprightness. Thou most upright does weigh the path of the just. Yea, in the way of thy judgments, O Yah, have we waited for thee. The desire of our soul is to thy name, and to the remembrance of thee. With my soul have I desired thee in the night. Yeah, with my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness. So, right now, the world as a whole, they don't even know a righteous way. They might know of, heard of, but they don't know the righteous way. They don't understand the righteous way because they don't practice the righteous way currently. The world does not meditate on the righteous way. You understand? Praise Yah. Hold on one moment. Okay. So, like I was saying, the world doesn't practice a righteous way. So they don't understand the righteous laws and how everything is supposed to be set up. Everything the Most High has set up has become corrupt. It's corrupted. Everything. And so now everything that's right looks wrong. When in fact, it's not. It's only the way that the wicked have done things. The way that the wicked have run things. The way that the wicked have carried out things. The way that the wicked have twisted the Most High's just laws and made them unjust. We've been brainwashed into thinking the Most High's laws are unjust because of the ways of wicked men. And we couldn't be further from the truth. We couldn't be more wrong. Because all of the ways of Yah are just. We're going to go over some of these laws in this video, and Yah willing, the next video. Because they need to be discussed. They need to be talked about. And people need to understand how fair and how just and humane the Most High really is. And understand how deep the Most High really is. And how all of us have a role in this earth. No matter who we are, the Most High covers all bases. Nobody's just going to be out there unless they hate their lives. There's going to be a community everywhere because that's what the Most High wanted. A righteous community on the earth. A righteous society where nobody is left out. Right? So let's keep going. I'm just feeling, you know, this good energy. It feels really good today. Just like yesterday. It feels really good. So in verse 10 of Isaiah 26, it reads, "Let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of YAH." So like we said before, they will not change. The wicked are not going to change. This current rulership is not going to all of a sudden become righteous. That's not how it works. You can be kind to them and show them mercy. You can present the laws, the righteous laws of YAH to them, and they're still going to treat the people in an inhumane way, inhumanely, harm the people, ill treatment, unfairly, unjust. They're not going to judge fairly. They're not going to judge righteously. Don't depend on it. The wicked are just that. They're wicked. And that's why there has to be a changing of the guard. This is why they're going to be eradicated. Because they refuse to change. And anyone who loves their ways and desires their ways and doesn't want their ways to change, they're going to be eradicated right along with them. We don't want to be like that. We don't want to be wicked. The wicked, y'all have to understand. The wicked adopted laws the Most High set in place and made them corrupt. You understand? So it's not copying the wicked when you embrace righteousness once again. You're just taking on the ways that the Most High wanted us to take on originally. Okay? The wicked, they just notice how they take everything and they make it corrupt. They took the rainbow, the covenant of the Most High, and they corrupted that. They turned it into a homosexual sodomite symbol. They take everything and they corrupt it. It's corrupted. That's what they do. That is what the wicked do. They'll take marriage and corrupt it. All the laws of YAH. And they will corrupt it. They corrupted the Most High's laws on murder. They will corrupt any law of the Most High YAH. It doesn't matter. That's why you have people that can get away with murder in this current society. And get away with many different things that they shouldn't be getting away with. All right? So let's keep on going. In verse 11, it reads, "YAH, when thy hand is lifted up, they will not see, but they shall see and be ashamed for their envy at the people. Yeah, the fire of thine enemies shall devour them." So don't sit there and root for the wicked. I mean, you can sit there and you can root for them, but I'm just saying it's not wise to sit there and root for the wicked. It's really not. Because they're going to be devoured. They're going to fade away. They're not going to last in the earth. Verse 12. YAH thou wilt ordain peace for us. For thou also hast wrought all our works in us. O Yah our Elohim, other masters beside thee have had dominion over us, but by thee only will we make mention of thy name. They are dead, they shall not live. They are deceased, they shall not rise. Therefore have you visited and destroyed them, and made all their memory to perish. Thou hast increased the nation, O Yah. Thou hast increased the nation. Thou art glorified. Thou have removed it far unto all the ends of the earth. Yah, in trouble have they visited thee. They poured out a prayer when thy chastening was upon them, like as a woman with child that draweth near the time of her delivery, is in pain and crieth out in her pangs. So have we been in thy sight, O Yah. We have been with child, we have been in pain. We have, as it were, brought forth wind. We have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen. Thy dead men shall live, together with my dead body shall they arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in dust, for thy dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. For behold, Yah cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. Okay? So, Yah's judgment will bring life to the dead. Right? The Most High, this is really when we start to understand, when we start to see that our ways won't save us, when we start to understand the only deliverer, the only redeemer, the only savior is Yah, and that no matter what we do, we don't have that power, then we will start to make a change. Then we will start to understand and see things. And really, it's about making a change in yourself, because the earth is changing regardless of your decisions. The earth doesn't stop changing because you decided you don't want to change your ways. Okay, let's get that straight. We can do all the work, right? All the work and do things all our way, and we will still not have a result. We still won't defeat our enemies without the power of Yah, without the judgment of Yah. We should want the judgment of Yah to fill the earth, to punish the inhabitants for our sins. That's what we should want. We should want this swift judgment. You just saw here the Most High's judgment. The Most High's power is so strong, it brings life to the dead. It brings life to the dead. No man can do that. You go and try and dig up a grave, or get another man, get several men, get all the men to dig up a grave. And with all the men that you get on that corpse, on that dead body, none of them, I assure you, will be able to bring that corpse back to life. I don't care how many people are over that dead body doing witchcraft. It won't come to life. They'll wear themselves out. They'll be out there till daybreak, and they'll get tired because they can't bring it to life. I don't care how much voodoo, how many spells they try to summon the dead and bring this dead corpse back to life. It won't happen because they simply don't have the power. We simply do not have the power to bring the dead back to life. Only the Most High does. And this is the deepness the Most High is trying to show us. And when you really understand it, I mean, it's deep in the sense that we can't do it, but it's not really that deep, because we should already understand the Creator can do this. There's nothing impossible for the one who created all things. It's only impossible for us. But for some reason, it's hard for us to accept that our ways are not right. And that we should be depending on a greater source than ourselves. We should be. No matter what man says, man can frown upon it all day. But does that make it wrong? No. Just because man might not approve of us looking to something higher, something divine, something greater than ourselves, doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that man doesn't have all the answers. And we have to, again, humble ourselves. And we have to understand we don't have righteous judgment until we have righteous laws in place on the earth. And I understand this might not be most people's desire. Fine. There's a way that'll be taken care of as well. That will be taken care of in judgment as well, in righteous judgment. For those who don't agree with the Creator, that will be taken care of in righteous judgment as well. All of us, we will be taken care of in righteous judgment. And then we'll see who's right and who's wrong. Because the Most High is always right. Okay? Let's go to Exodus chapter 20, because we've been talking about this judgment, right? And judgment is filling the earth as we speak. It's always really been here, but it hasn't been as swift as it's become. Right? It's getting swifter and swifter. Praise YAH. I mean, that's seeing a trend. That's mercy, really. It's very merciful that the Most High is slowly transitioning us so we're not overwhelmed. That's how much the Most High loves His creation. See, because the Most High can just, boom, put us in a space that we're not used to. Instantly pour out His wrath and indignation, right? Instantly. The Most High could do that. But the Most High is not doing that. The Most High is being merciful with us and spoon feeding us righteous judgment. Which is a blessing, right? So, in Exodus 20, and these are YAH's great laws, right? These are great laws that can be practiced right now. They can be performed right now. We can practice these laws now. We ought to get used to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, forget about what the world is doing. We ought to get used to practicing these laws. That's what we got to get used to. If we, embrace this, if we understand the importance of us moving forward, we can move together in unity. We can move forward together in unity, just like we're doing right now. We're communicating with one another. We're talking with one another. We're talking to each other right now. We're giving righteous instruction right now. We can talk to each other and move together right now, no matter where we're located on this beautiful earth. It doesn't matter what the current rulers are doing. It's just like when our forefather Daniel was in captivity. He still moved as one with the Creator in the righteous laws of the Creator. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, moving in one righteous law. It didn't matter that the king at the time wanted them to bow down to his idol and worship him. They still practiced the laws of YAH. So it's not impossible. It is not impossible to practice the laws in a wicked world, in a wicked society, in a wicked community. You understand? Because that is where our power comes from. It comes from the source, from the Creator. It doesn't come from the rulers. We don't have to beg for favor from the rulers because we have the Creator. We have the favor of the ruler, the one true ruler. So when we move in sync, when we move together as one, all of us, practicing these laws, who's going to stop it? Nobody can stop it, because we understand the power of life and death is in the Most High's hands. And if the Most High sees fit for us to be in a grave, that's what it's going to be. I'll die before I don't practice these laws. Do you understand? I will die before I don't practice these laws. Praise Yah. And that's how we should all feel. Don't let anybody change your course. Don't let anybody convince you or deceive you into worshiping idols and going against your Creator. Don't let that happen just because that's what most people are doing. Most people are going to be judged righteously by the Most High. Most people are going to be judged fairly. You understand? Do not follow most people, because Most High tells us there's only a remnant. So we have to talk to each other. We have to communicate with each other. Yes, we can spread this message to others, but whether they decide or choose to walk in righteous laws or not is up to them. But if we know this is what we want to do, this is what we should be discussing, right? With each other. We should be going over these laws as we do. Praise Yah. So in Exodus chapter 20, I'm going to start at verse 1. And it reads, And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yah thy Elohim, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. The Most High always makes this very clear with us. I love how the Most High does that. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the heaven, or the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them. You don't worship these idols, right? Nor serve them. For I, YAH, thy Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Right? That's just judgment. And why we wouldn't want these laws to flourish throughout the earth is foolishness. This is what we should desire. Thou shalt not take the name of YAH thy Elohim in vain, for YAH will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of YAH thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days YAH made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore YAH blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. And there are many reasons why this day is so special. The Sabbath day, the 7th day, is so special. And you go throughout the word and you can find statutes, you find additional laws that go with the Sabbath day. Different laws that support the Sabbath day. You go to Isaiah 58 and you read how you should conduct yourself on the Sabbath day. Right? You read about how you should not do any work on the Sabbath day. How special this day is. The Sabbath day is a special day. Right? And so it's very important that we consider these things and that we do the right thing. That we practice these laws while we're in captivity, so that when we come out of captivity, we'll be prepared. And you know, the funny thing to me is that these laws, I know to the average person, these laws sound scary, and they should be. These laws, because we've been so corrupted by this moralist society. We've been so corrupted by wickedness and programmed by evil. And we've been taught that sin is just a normal thing. It's normal to sin, isn't it? We don't even have ways of cleaning ourselves in this current way of life from all the pollution, from all the filth and abominable things that we partake in. We don't have a way of offering a sacrifice to YAH for cleanliness, for our corrupt ways, for our sin offerings. We don't have a way to truly clean ourselves, heal ourselves in this current system. And we think that we're okay. To me, that's scary. I don't know about you, but to me, it's scary not having righteous laws in place. And this organization, this order in place to where we can actually clean ourselves and heal ourselves. But To the average person, it's scary having laws, righteous laws. It's not scary having man's laws, but it's scary having righteous laws. See, we were complacent. We've been sitting comfortably up under man's law, man's rulership, wicked man's rulership, comfortably sitting. As long as we capitalize, that's like the number one commandment of man. That's the number one commandment of man. Capitalize, capitalize, capitalize. If you're capitalizing, you're doing the right thing. Right? But not actually doing the right thing, actually being righteous. Doesn't matter how you capitalize, just get it. Get it how you live, right? That's the number one commandment of man. But the Most High actually has righteous laws. It's not for play, not play. It's for real. And that's why it scares the average person so much, because much is required of you to do the right thing. You have to actually do the right thing. You can't pretend. You can't deceive and act like you're doing the right thing. You can't swindle people into thinking that you're doing the right thing. You have to actually do the right thing. And I think that scares a lot of people, the average person. And I could understand how it could be scary if you're not willing to change and turn from your wicked ways, if you're not willing to stop sinning. It can be scary because there are harsh consequences for that. And people don't want to suffer consequences for their sins. But that's the only way to have a better society. People don't understand that this is the society we're in as a result of us not practicing righteous laws. I can't say it enough. This current society is a result of us not practicing righteous laws. So the only way to change this current society into something better, into a world of peace, is to establish righteous laws. It makes so much sense to me. And I hope it makes sense to some of us, that tune in and can hear this. I hope it makes sense to you as well. It makes perfect sense to me. So in verse 11 or verse 12, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which YAH thy Elohim giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Very plain and simple laws. Things that we should really want to practice anyways. You should not have it in your heart to want to kill, to murder people. You should not have it in your heart to commit or to desire to commit adultery. You shouldn't have this in your heart. But I can see how that's scary to people who don't want to do the right thing. You shouldn't have it in your heart to steal, to want to steal from someone. You should not have these things in your heart in the first place. Don't you understand? This is what makes a society corrupt, when you do things like this. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. You shouldn't have the desire to want to bear false witness against somebody. I don't care if you were in a disagreement, you got in an argument with them or not, or you're just jealous of them, whatever the case. You should not have a desire to bear false witness against somebody. Period. That's evil. So I could see how you would be afraid of these laws if you didn't want to do the right thing, because there's consequences for you. You shouldn't want to covet what your neighbor has. You shouldn't want to covet their house. or their spouse or their servants or anything that they own. Go get what's for you. Why are you sitting there meditating on what somebody else has? That can only lead to a disaster. That can only lead to something bad. That's how problems arise. The Most High wants you to focus on you, your journey, your relationship with Yah, your righteousness. You should be the reason. Check this out. Instead of coveting what somebody else has, you should be a part of the reason that they have those things. Don't y'all see that? You should be the reason that your neighbor got a new ox or a new ass because you gifted them one. You see what I'm saying? Like, come on. Why are you jealous? Why are you coveting? We're supposed to be a team. We're supposed to be a community. We're supposed to have unity. We're supposed to be helping each other. You should be happy. We should celebrate one another. This is how we have healthy relationships in a healthy society. And people, they talk a good game. They say that's what they want. They want world peace. But they don't really break it down into what that looks like. They just throw around the word peace. They use the word peace loosely. And I don't like that. Because what does peace look like? What do you describe as peace? What is peace to you? And don't give me some mumbo jumbo about peace as a society where everybody is doing the right thing. And, they just, everybody, they're off doing their own thing. And they don't have to have anybody ruling over. Because that's a contradiction. You can't depend on people to do the right thing without order. You can't have it both ways. So don't give double talk when you're describing what peace is. Really lay down the law. What is the law of peace? What does righteous law look like throughout the earth? If you can't give a detailed description of righteous law, then you shouldn't be anybody opening your mouth to speak on what peace really is and what it actually looks like. Yeah, we're gonna break that down. We're gonna really talk about that. Because you don't know what peace is if you don't have righteous laws in place. You can't have peace. That's impossible. Peace has checks and balances. You understand? You can't be against punishment for wicked things and call yourself an advocate of peace. So you should know if someone is being deceitful when they speak of peace on earth, or if they're being sincere. Because it's going to come with checks and balances. It's going to come with correction. Okay? There's going to be a process of doing things. A standard operating procedure. Okay? Oh yeah. You don't just make up some mumbo jumbo crap and say, oh, well, peace looks like this. No. There's order to it. And it can't contradict. It's got to be real, authentic peace. Does man have a better plan than the Most High? I'd like to know. Is man more just and fair than the Most High? I'd really like to know that. But let's move on, because I'm not going to be here too much longer. Let's read Exodus chapter 21. Let's read Exodus chapter 21. And it reads, now in verse 1, now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If you buy a Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free. Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the doorpost. And his master shall bore his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. And a lot of people will look at that like, oh my gosh, that is so cruel. It is so cruel. It's so cruel. Oh my gosh. Why would he want to be a servant forever? Oh my goodness. Why would anybody want to work at a company forever? Like, what's the difference? Because they really enjoy their job. Come on, people. He had the option to leave. If he wanted to leave, he could have left. He wasn't held against his will, is the whole point. He could have gone. He wasn't bound in chains with a yoke around his neck. A lot of people they view slavery from the lens of the wicked. That's the problem. People view servitude and slavery from the lens of the wicked. Yes, we're going to justify slavery today. And I hope you're ready for it. We're going to justify slavery. We're going to justify servitude. Yes. Why? Because it's not an unrighteous thing. It's the way that it's done. I wish people understood this. The way that things are done today in this modern society, in this captivity that we're currently in, is corrupt. The way things are done today are wicked, as you can see. It's wicked. The wicked bit off of the Most High's laws, and they twisted it, and they made it wicked. They made it unjust. I know of plenty of people who say they enjoy their jobs. They enjoy their jobs. Do you understand? No, they don't want to leave their jobs. It provides them with stability. You understand? And they enjoy doing it. They enjoy their work culture. They enjoy being able to provide for their families. They enjoy it. So why would you want to take someone out of their position and say it's cruel that they want to stay in a certain position? Why would you take them out of that? If they're being treated right at the job, right? If they're being treated right at the job. See, the way that a lot of things are done today, they don't give people enough freedom. And so you're seeing more and more people say they don't enjoy their jobs. They're being burnt out and all of these things because they work people to the grave. Like, that is not the way of doing things. That's inhumane. That's not how the Most High intended for things to be. The Most High gives you rest. You don't have to have burnout. You understand? And so you decide, what needs to be done. Once that thing is done, you go home. You're done for the day. We didn't work the shifts that we worked back in Israel like we work today. You did what needed to be done, and then you run. You go. You leave. Bye. When there's work that needed to be completed, it was completed. It wasn't this never-ending cycle, this never-ending cycle of work that we do today. But there's always, thousands of tasks, hundreds of tasks that need to be completed all the time. That's not normal. That's capitalism. And in Israel, we didn't practice capitalism. We practiced fairness. We have righteous laws. We're just. And so, yes, you're going to have a system that has things that you see today, like workers, servants, slaves. And there's nothing wrong with that because it started in ancient times. It was very common in ancient times. You understand? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I don't think y'all ready, but let's keep going. Verse 8. Some people might be ready. Some people might understand and they can see things, but I don't know. Some people, they're still against a lot of things because of the way they were taught, because of the way they were programmed in this current system to see things through the lens of the wicked and how the wicked do things. And so they can't get past it. And so it's just like, no, we can't do it at all. Again, going back to the rainbow. Can you not accept the covenant of the Most High's rainbow because it's ruled over by homosexuals? Okay? What the Most High had set in place was righteous. What the wicked did with it was evil. They corrupted it. But anyways, I digress. Let's keep going. In verse 8. Or in verse 7. And if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as the men servants. If she please not her master who has betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed, to sell her unto a strange nation. He shall have no power, seeing he has dealt deceitfully with her. You see? And if he has betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. And if he do not these three things, or these three unto her, then shall she go out free without money. So there are laws in place for dealing with wives, arranged marriages. You understand? Because there were arranged marriages. Not all marriages were arranged, but in the case of arranged marriages, there were laws for that. There were even laws for that. And these types of things cover many bases. And you have to understand, uh, people, you got to understand, this is on a case by case basis. Okay? You cannot just, how can I say this? You cannot place everyone in the same category. Okay? Everybody has a different personality. So what might be cruel to someone might not be cruel to someone else. If you have a daughter and you can't marry her off, she can't find a husband, but you want her to be taken care of, and you want her to receive the things that a woman receives in a marriage, right? And if a man is looking for a woman because he wants a wife, she can't find a husband. Y'all have to understand. Usually these are women who, they can't find husbands. And you're always, even today, you have women that can't find husbands. Okay? And everybody's personality is different again. And so this is not some woman that's being forced into a marriage like a handmaiden, right? He is helping his daughter. Again, the Most High is not inhumane. He's not, right? He's helping her. And if that man that buys the daughter doesn't want her anymore, he has to treat her fairly still. And he has to let her go free. So she was not bound in a marriage and against her will and forced to serve this. There's nothing like that going on in the nation of Israel. This S&M type bondage type of treatment that we've gone through in this current captivity, our brains are all messed up. The Most High just has a certain order to things. You understand? If a man found a woman that he desired and he really wanted to marry her and she really wanted to marry him, she wouldn't have to be sold off to that man. They would come together willingly. You had marriages like that. She wanted to be with him. He wanted to be with her. You understand? It wasn't even like an arranged marriage type of thing. He saw what he wanted. She saw what she liked. They desired each other. And they ran off into the sunset. So every case is different. Okay? You got some women, the father couldn't get them out of the house. You understand? She couldn't sprout her wings and fly away. And so he's helping her. He gave her a push. And you have women who are down with that. So you cannot speak for everyone. We have to understand, as people, everybody is different. The Most High didn't make us AI. He didn't make us robots. We have free will. Everybody is different. There are women who are down with polygamous relationships. You have women that want to share their husband. Okay? You do. So as a woman, you cannot speak for every woman. And you shouldn't want to speak for every woman. Just like a man, he shouldn't want to speak for every man. You lay out the laws that the Most High gives you. There are many different options and ways that you can do these laws. The Most High gives you so many freedoms and so many outlets and so many ways of doing things. As long as it's done in righteousness, there's nothing wrong. You understand? Nothing wrong. And again, the Most High judges justly. It's just. Yes, it is just. So he can't deal deceitfully with her. He can't deal deceitfully with her. He has to deal righteously with her. He can't sell her off to another nation. He got to let her go her way. That's where she want to go. Right? He got to pay her support. You know what I'm saying? He got to give her support. He can't deal treacherously with her just because it was an arranged marriage. Right? I think it's a beautiful thing because that means that no one goes without a spouse. Everyone gets to experience marriage. Everybody gets to go through that, which is a beautiful thing. That's how the Most High intended for it to be. It's natural. I don't understand why so many people are against marriage. Marriage is very natural and it's very beautiful when it's done right. That's the problem. Because I can't see both sides. I can see why some people might be against marriage because, you know, the way things are done currently, you can't trust nobody. Remember we said in the beginning, you can't trust your friends, you can't trust your family, you can't trust nobody. And so when you're looking through the eyes of trauma and the way things are done in a wicked society, you're not going to want to partake in any of these things because you can't trust it. But when you're in a righteous world, things look much different. And when you're able to see that, when you're able to see that in a righteous world, there's nothing wrong with the way these things are done, then you'll start to accept it and understand it and understand we all have a place. Maybe that arranged marriage is not for you, but I can guarantee you it's for somebody else. You understand? Okay, so let's keep going. He that smiteth a man so that he die shall be surely put to death. That's verse 12. So the Most High didn't have us running around in chaos just killing each other. We're not running around like savages. Black on black crime. Right? We don't have that going on within our nation. We're not running around harming each other. Again, like I said, the Most High is humane. The Most High is not inhumane. Which is crazy. I mean, it's not crazy that the Most High is humane, but when you think about it, the Most High is more humane than the human. You would think that as humans, we would be more humane. But the Most High is not even a human, and the Most High is more humane. We have really been twisted in the mind to think that the Creator is cruel. When in fact the Creator is more compassionate, shows more mercy. Praise YAH. Praise YAH. I'm grateful. Because if it weren't for the Creator intervening, where would we be? We would completely destroy ourselves without any intervention. And that is not a good thing. So we should want intervention. We should want order to come back on the earth. So yes, we're not running around killing each other without cause. He that smiteth a man so that he die shall be surely put to death. So then we move on to verse 13. And verse 13 says, and if a man lie not in wait, but Elohim deliver him into his hand, then I will appoint thee a place whither he shall flee. So the Most High is saying, if that man accidentally kills somebody, I'll give him a place where he can hide. You see, if the Most High allowed that person to die at the hand of this other person by accident, I'll give him a place to hide. Why? Because the Most High knows the family is going to be wroth. The family of the individual who died is going to be angry. And they're going to end up committing a sin and judging unfairly. You understand? So say that this person is striving with another person and the other person that got killed was attacking the other person first. And this other person was trying to defend themselves. You see? And they ended up killing their brother by accident. The Most High is going to have a place for this person to hide because the family is going to be angry. Of course. Right? Of course. So, or if something happens that maybe they weren't striving, maybe they were moving or hauling equipment, and this person accidentally got killed while they were doing whatever they were doing. He's going to have a place for that person to hide. You understand? So it wasn't done on purpose. It was an accident. And the Most High does not want us killing each other based on accidents. Okay? Verse 14. But if a man come presumptuously upon his neighbor to slay him with guile, thou shalt take him from mine altar, that he may die. Because he is committing premeditated murder. When you are murdering someone, premeditated, eye for an eye, you need to die. That's wickedness in the congregation. You could never pay for someone else's life. You understand? Ever. And so this is why you have a place to hide when it's done by accident. You couldn't pay for that. There's no amount of money you could give that family for the life of that other individual. So you need to just remove yourself from the people. Just remove yourself and go somewhere else. That's where you need to do. That's what you need to do. All right. But you shouldn't have to die because of an accident. And the Most High obviously didn't believe in prisons because, again, that's the ways of man. Prisons are very inhumane. Inhumane. And this is why the wicked don't like the laws of the Most High, because they can't get away with just harming people and doing what they want to do. Because the punishment is swift. You either live or you don't. You either pay up or you don't. You understand? But there is no you sit in a holding cell for years and years and years, right? And then you come out and you wreak havoc on the community like they do with this current system. They put men in cages. They put women in cages for so much time, for so many years or whatever. And then they let them back out, let them loose on society with no hope and no future. And then they're forced into a life of crime once again. You understand? That's not the ways of the Most High YAH. The Most High's ways are just. Okay? They're just. And it just is what it is. Period. There's nothing that you could give me for taking the life of my family member. There's nothing you could give me. You took the life of one of my family members? There's nothing you could give me but your life. And I can understand how a family would be this way. So you better run and you better hide. I don't want anything you have to give me. So you let the family go through what they go through. They mourn, they grieve, and you hide. You leave. It makes perfect sense to me. It really does. But if you're guilty, you die. You murdered them without cause, you die. Eye for an eye. Praise Yah. So let's move on. And that's instant. There's no trial where you're sentenced to so many years in a cage. No, after the trial, you die. You get the death penalty. It's always death penalty. Nothing else. So I can see why you'd be nervous about these laws if you don't want to do the right thing. Right? So in verse 15, and he that smiteth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. Because we're not going to have this rogue generation brewing in our society. We're not going to allow this youth to corrupt the others. Or even if he's not a youth, you strike your elderly parents, you surely shall be put to death. You should not want this type of spirit residing in the midst of the people. There's instant punishment for things like this. You striking your parents, you need to be put to death. You do. That's not right. What you hitting your parents for? Your parents raised you. Your parents bore you. Your parents gave birth to you. They produced you. You don't hit your parents. There's consequences for that. Severe consequences. And so for those who disrespect their parents and, they want to get physical with their parents, I could see why they would not gravitate towards laws like this. Because that's not a very nice punishment for them. You understand? They wouldn't want these types of laws. Verse 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. So you mean to tell me we didn't have traffickers in the land of Israel? Human trafficking was not a thing. When you steal a man and selling him, that's trafficking. That's everything that's marked with the stamp of approval by today's wicked rulership. Trafficking is very much accepted. It's widely accepted, and it's a very big industry. So they're not going by righteous laws. These are one of the things that they complain about. Today's society. Trafficking. It's a huge problem. The current rulership of today condone trafficking. They're traffickers. They don't see anything wrong with it. You see, when the Most High said he would give us up to unjust laws, the Most High was not playing. Because one of the first things that happened to us and our people during the transatlantic, we were trafficked. We were trafficked. To this day. Right? So, no, this is not what the Most High intended for us. This is not something the Most High wanted us to practice. We didn't have traffickers in the righteous land. We don't practice stuff like that. There's harsh consequences, severe consequences for people like this. People who steal people and sell them are put to death. So I can see why somebody like a trafficker would not want these laws. They don't want these laws. Why would I want these laws? I'm a trafficker, right? So you are in the same category with the trafficker when you say you don't want laws like this because of something you might not agree with. Well, I don't agree with that particular law. Well, it doesn't matter if you agree with that law or not. It's a righteous law. You're in the same category with the trafficker. If you do not like these laws, if you do not want these laws, these are righteous laws. And like I said, every single law it applies to everyone. It applies to everyone. It does. But there are certain laws that certain people go by, just like you had Levitical laws. You had laws for the common people. And then it breaks up even more. The Most High gives you options within certain laws. Like I said, like the arranged marriage. That's not for everyone. So what do you care that someone over here is in an arranged marriage? That's probably what they wanted more than likely. You see? So you might not want that for yourself, and that's fine. Go find your way in righteousness. But don't disagree with the Most High's laws because you don't agree with certain laws that are righteous. And say you don't want this to flourish throughout the earth when it's righteous. It's just. It's fair. In verse 17, and he that curses his father or his mother shall surely be put to death, because that's going to go down the wrong path very quickly. You sitting up there cursing your parents, you are a detriment to society. You're a delinquent. You are degenerate. You are rebellious. Right? Because if you don't see anything wrong with cursing your parents, you're already breaking a commandment. You're already breaking the 5th commandment. To honor thy father and thy mother. And if you don't see anything wrong with breaking the Most High's commandments, then you are a problem. This is how we end up in the world that we have today. This is the result of not checking wickedness in the midst of our people, in the midst of people, period. You end up with the world you have today. This is a result. So to nip that in the bud, to stop it in its tracks before it grows and spreads like a cancer, before it metastasizes, you implement swift punishment. It's important that we do that. Okay? Very important. And it's important that we acknowledge these laws and we go over these laws because this is our life. Our lives really do depend on these laws. We go by unjust laws today and we put our lives on that. We bet on that, but we don't want to bet on these laws. Make it make sense. Come on now. Replace these current laws that we have that are unjust with what's just and what's right. That's how you change it. That's how you make things better. You replace what you currently have with righteous laws. You don't have to fight the system to do better. You simply replace what you've been practicing with righteousness. So, regardless of where we're located, right? We start practicing these laws. There's nothing wrong with that, y'all. There's nothing wrong with practicing the Most High's laws where we're currently at all. So, verse 18. And if men strive together, and one smite another with a stone, or with his fist, and he die not, but keepeth his bed, if he rise again, and walk abroad upon his staff, then shall he that smote him be quit. Only he shall pay for the loss of his time, and shall cause him to be thoroughly healed. Okay? And if a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod, and he die under his hand, he shall surely be punished. He shall surely be surely punished. Notwithstanding, if he continue a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his money or his property, right? He owns him. And here's where a lot of people get uncomfortable. They get so uncomfortable. Oh, yeah. Now you see that there's a punishment for killing your slave. The Most High, again, he's not inhumane. He's not inhumane. But there are rules. You understand? You have slaves. And it's okay to have slaves. It's okay for Israel to have slaves. But before we go into that, let's go to hold that page, Exodus 21, and let's go to Leviticus chapter 25, because we're going to read about who's a slave, who's considered a slave, and who's not. Right? Because there's rules regarding slavery. Things were done so out of order in this current captivity that we just don't understand how things are supposed to be set up. Everything is so chaotic. It's crazy. Really, really crazy. And trying to get people to understand how this is righteous, sometimes it sounds bizarre to the average person, but it makes perfect sense. So go to Leviticus chapter 25, and we're going to start at verse 39. Mind you, slavery was something that's been practiced throughout history. Slavery is not new. The transatlantic slavery is not the first time there's been slaves. Slavery was a common thing. It was seen as normal because it's always been normal. You understand? It's always been normal. And it helps society. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to show you why. Come on. So in verse 39, in chapter 25 of Leviticus, it reads, "And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor, and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bond servant, but as a hired servant, and as a sojourner. He shall be with thee, and shall serve thee until the year of Jubilee. And then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his fathers shall he return. For they are my servants, which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondmen. Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but shall fear thy Elohim. Both thy bondmen and bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall you buy bondmen and bondmaids." You understand? So servants or indentured servants, see how the oppressor of today has flipped the Most High's righteous law into something unjust. First of all, we were made slaves, children of Israel, right? And the indentured servants were their own kind. And the way that we were treated was way different than how the Most High's laws are set up. They twisted everything around, everything. They envied us. And they abused their power. You understand? Drunk with power. Egos so big when they got into positions of power because the Most High raised them up. They were the bases of men. The Most High raised them up into positions of power, and they became drunk with power. So much so they couldn't handle the power. They abused the power. To this day, they abuse the power. We see that. They abuse the power even on their own. They don't go by the Most High's laws. They'll make their own people slaves just as quick as they'll make anyone else a slave. You understand? They're wicked. And their laws are not right. But the Most High is telling us right here that our brothers, the Hebrews, the Israelites, we were not meant to be slaves. We were meant to be servants. Okay? We were servants for 7 years, and then we could go free. A bondman or bondmaid was someone of another nation. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know why slavery is not inherently wrong. It's just not. It's gotten a bad rep. It's gotten a bad reputation. It's gotten a bad name because of modern day captivity. Modern day slavery has given slavery a bad name. But it's not inherently bad. It helps society. Didn't you just read in verse 39? Let's go back. Let's go back. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Please take a deep breath. I don't care who you are. Take a deep breath. And I just want you to see things through a righteous lens and not a wicked lens for once. Okay? Go back to verse 39 that we were just reading. It says, "And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor." Keyword poor. Keyword poor. Because you're always going to have the poor amongst you. Keyword poor. And there's nothing wrong with someone who's poor. Not everyone. Remember what we talked about in the beginning. Some people like working under someone. They would rather have a job than own a business. A lot goes into a business. You know that, right? A lot goes into leadership positions. A lot. And some people don't want to have all that responsibility put on them. They don't want all that laid on them. And that's fine. So they would rather be a servant. So you can't speak for someone else and say, oh, that's not right. You want to be a servant? Oh my gosh. That's so not fair. Why is it not fair? They should be allowed to eat too. They want to help build society. They want to be productive citizens of society. Let them. They're being treated right. So what is it to you? There are people out there laying on the streets right now, drunk, high. Some of them would love to be bondmen and bondmaids to Israel and help build up Israel. You know why? Because we're not going to give them harsh treatment like the slavery of today. We're not going to beat them sore and torture them and kill. We're not going to rape them and do all these things that we had done to us and our ancestors in slavery. We're not going to do those things because we're not that type of people. We're humane. Those people that you see laying out on the streets could have a better life as a bondman or a bondmaid. They can actually have a peaceful, productive life. They don't have to feel like killing themselves. You know, they don't have to be suicidal and spit on and kicked on and looked down on when there's a program they can go through. You understand? And they can be treated right. See, you can't expect your oppressor to treat you right. Your oppressor's they're never going to do this the right way. I promise you. The oppressor is never going to do this the right way. They read the Most High's word. They read the Bible. And they try to bite off of it. And it's kind of funny watching them scramble and try to figure things out that they could never accomplish. They could never do. They could never be righteous judges in society because they're always going to judge unfairly because they're wicked. They don't go by righteous laws. And so if they're offering you a program, well, we'll offer you a program where you can be our servant, you can be our slave. It's always going to be unjust. They're always going to treat you inhumane. Look at how they have these concentration camps today. The food is filthy. Everything is filthy. They lock people in cages. We don't do that. As you can see, we don't even practice putting people in prison in Israel. So you're not bound with chains. You understand? You're free to walk around and pick apples off the tree. Are you okay? Like, come on. You're free. You're free. But we're not going to have you out there just laying around and just not being productive. We want you to have a healthy, happy, productive life as well. The Most High wants you to have a healthy, happy, productive life. The Most High don't want you laying around, woe is me, sticking needles in yourself and getting drunk. For what? When you can have a life that's so much better. You understand? A life that's so much better. A life that's actually worth living. You can have a family. You understand? You can have a family that loves you. You can have all of those things. But you have to go by righteous laws. You have to join the covenant with the Most High's people. You have to. If that's what you desire. If you desire peace and you desire righteousness. And is that to say that all the heathens are going to be bondmen and bondmaids? Again, everything is not for everyone. Do you understand? See, in our nation, we don't see race. We really don't. In our nation, we judge fairly. Everything is fair. So our brothers, yeah, they're going to be servants, but they're waxing poor. The heathen, they're going to be bondmaid and bondmen, yeah. And guess what? They're waxing poor. These are people who would rather have righteous leadership. They would rather have righteous management than to lead. You have people who have it in them to lead. They have a spirit of leadership. And then you have a people who have a spirit of another position. They would rather be guided by righteous leadership. You understand? Because all of us are followers. All of us are followers of the Most High YAH. That is our one king, our one leader, our one creator. But some people would rather be guided by a righteous manager than to be the righteous manager. Do you understand? And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing inherently wrong with that. So the way that things have been corrupted in today's society, you have to change your way of thinking. You have to change your perspective and see it through a clearer, cleaner lens. And the ways that we've been raised, the way we've been taught. It's a beautiful world when you don't have drunks lying out on the sidewalk. That's a beautiful thing. And not the way that the current administration has done it, by kidnapping them and doing whatever they've done with them. They've disappeared and you don't know what's happened to them. And they're being treated harshly and tortured. No, that's not how we practice things. We don't do things like that. On the surface, it looks clean, but behind the scenes, it's unholy. No, everything we do is out on the forefront. It's out there for everyone to see in the light. You can see the positive results of the Most High's righteous laws. You understand? So, let's keep going. Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall you buy, and of their families that are with you, which they begat in your land, and they shall be your possession. Verse 46. And you shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them for a possession. They shall be your bondmen forever. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, you shall not rule one over another with rigor. And if a sojourner or stranger wax rich by thee, and thy brother that dwelleth by him wax poor, and sell himself unto the stranger or sojourner by thee, or to the stock of the stranger's family, after that he is sold, he may be redeemed again. One of his brethren may redeem him. Either his uncle or his uncle's son may redeem him, or any that is nigh of kin unto him of his family may redeem him. Or, if he be able, he may redeem himself. So, the Most High is showing us that even a stranger can be rich amongst us. You see? So there is no unfair treatment. A stranger can be rich. Do all strangers have to be our slave? No. That's silly. You see? That's silly. No, we don't rule like that. That's called oppression. Do you understand? That is called oppression. But it's not oppression when you have someone put in a better position than they were in before. If someone is waxing poor, having stability is a better position than they had before. And offering real stability. And that doesn't mean working them to the grave. Burning them out. You understand? It just means that you're offering them opportunities. Those are real opportunities. And it sounds so cliche because the wicked, they speak like this all the time. But do they actually perform it? Absolutely not. They don't practice what they preach. They really don't. They're great deceivers. But in the Most High's law is real. See, they know the Most High's law. They don't practice it. They speak smooth words to the people. They don't practice it. You understand? And then for those, you have those Gentiles who will gladly become the bondmen and bondmaids of Israel because they understand that that is righteous judgment. They understand that Israel, we were bondmen and bondmaids for the Gentile, and righteous judgment only makes sense that they would then become bondmen and bondmaids for Israel. Is that not fair? It's absolutely fair. But the way we do things, they have to be humane. And everyone eats. Everyone lives. You understand? So let's go back to Exodus chapter 21. And let's continue reading. We will pick up at verse 22 of Exodus 21, chapter 21. Don't get scared because you hear the Christian brothers on the sidewalks outside that call themselves Hebrew Israelites practicing Hebrew Israelites. They're Hebrew, but they call themselves practicing Hebrew. And they're out there shouting on the sidewalks, Gentiles, y'all gonna be our slaves. You gonna be our slaves. Making it seem like, ooh, it's so scary. And they're gonna do all these things that your people have done to our people in slavery. And that's not the case. That's not true. Brothers like that need to watch out for their own salvation, because if they don't drop that idol, they're not going to even own themselves or their own lives. So don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. When the Most High says that those who oppressed us, or those who, the oppressors who put us in captivity shall go into captivity, the Most High didn't mean in the harsh ways that we were put into captivity. Because the Most High is not harsh that way. The Most High is not inhumane. The Most High didn't have us out there just torturing people. We don't rock like that. We don't roll like, we don't do that. Okay? But there is an order to do, a way of doing things. You know, there's always a way of doing things. So, in verse 22, it reads, if men strive and hurt a woman with child, so that her fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, he shall be surely punished, according as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. And if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Right? Burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. And if a man smite the eye of his servant, or the eye of his maid, that it perish, he shall let him go free for his eye's sake. And if he smite out his manservant's tooth, or his maidservant's tooth, he shall let him go free for his tooth's sake. So see how that's so humane? If you hit your servant and they lose their tooth, you have to let them go free. Do you think the Gentiles in this slavery that we were in after the transatlantic slave trade, do you think, or during the transatlantic slave trade, do you think that they even regarded our tooth? Did they have regard for our body parts? No. They violated us in the worst ways. They didn't let you go because you lost your tooth. You understand? They didn't let you go for ill treatment, harsh treatment. They didn't let you. They were cutting off our limbs, feeding the babies to alligators. So this is why slavery has a bad reputation, because of modern slavery. But slavery is not supposed to go like that. It's just not. It's just not. And we use it in a bad way. So it has a negative connotation to it. When you say the word slave, slavery, you know what I'm saying? It has a bad reputation because of how recent slavery has gone. But again, I will say it. It is not inherently bad. It's not. It helps society. It helps society. It does. Okay? You had to let them go free. So we're not supposed to be sitting up here torturing our bondmen and our bondmaids. Hold that page and let's go to Isaiah 14. Hold that page and go to Isaiah 14. Hold that page and go to Isaiah 14. Look at this. It says in Isaiah 14, chapter 14, verse 1. For YAH will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. You see that? Strangers shall cleave to the house of Jacob. That means they want to be with the nation of Israel. They want to be with us. You understand? There's nothing wrong with that at all. They want to be with us. And then when you think about it, when you're living in a world where the resources are few and they're only given to a certain nation because the Most High will have it that way, and there's nothing man can do about it, you're going to want to cleave to the ones with the resources. You understand? And does that give us the right to abuse our power? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, we have more of a responsibility, that social responsibility, making sure everything goes good. Right? We have to make sure that the environment is clean, the people are safe and healthy and treated right. You understand? That's a beautiful thing. Who wouldn't want to live rent-free? Come on, y'all. A slave is living rent-free. Think about it. And not in harsh conditions, like the Gentiles had our people in harsh conditions. You best believe with our bondmen and bondwomen, they're going to be in good conditions. Our bondmen and bondwomen in the nation of Israel will be in clean, healthy conditions. You understand? Because we understand that we're all a team. Teamwork makes the dream work. If you want the team to be happy and you want things to go well, then you have to treat them right. You understand? You have to treat them right. It's the truth. All right. So in verse 2 of Isaiah 14, it reads, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of YAH for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Does it say they shall oppress their oppressors? No. 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 Does it say that we'll oppress anybody? No, we're not oppressing anyone. We're not. We're establishing order again. Righteous laws. The way things are supposed to be. Righteously. And you're going to have strangers that wax rich, and you're going to have strangers that are poor. And a lot of poor strangers are going to sell themselves into servitude. And that's just the reality of the situation. It just is what it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's beautiful. You understand? No man is left out in this. No man is left out. So, in verse 3 of Isaiah 14, and it shall come to pass in the day that YAH shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. See, the Most High said we were in hard bondage. Did it say we were going to put the heathen in hard bondage? No. Did it say that we were going to torture the heathen? No. They're going into bondage, but are they going into torture? No. Inhumane treatment? No. So get out of that mindset that being a servant is inherently bad. Being a bondman or bondman is inherently bad. Get that out of your mind. Because it's been polluted and corrupted and turned upside down. Everyone should have the opportunity to enjoy life. Everybody. And if you don't want to be in bondage, then go somewhere else in the world. Go over there where the drought is. Okay? Because you're not going to find resources anywhere else. But if you think you can make it happen in the desert, go right ahead. But the Most High is going to bless Israel, and that's the way it's going to be. This is a system. The way the things that the Most High is going to set up is going to be in this system, in this program. Because the Most High is an Elohim of order, a God of order. There's never going to be a time when everybody just gets to do whatever they want on the Most High's green earth. It's just never going to be a time like that. Even as the rulers, even as the ones who are in positions of rulership, our people will have to go by strict laws. Our people are bound to these laws, these righteous laws. So it's not just one person that has to do what the Most High says. We all have to do what the Most High says. All of us have to do things the right way. Can we? Can the Most High depend on us to keep the order and do things the right way? Can we do this together? Are we in it to win it? Can we all put our hands in and produce? I'm really curious. I want to see what everyone has to produce. I want to see what I can produce out of all of this. You understand? I want to know. I want to know everybody's position. I want to see everybody's purpose. I want to see everybody flourish. I think it's beautiful. I want to see everybody have opportunity. So, in verse 4 of Isaiah 14, because that's a just balance. Okay? Verse 4 of chapter 14 of Isaiah. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. YAH has broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted, and none hindereth. Listen to this, verse 7. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Don't tell me that being a bondman or a bondman is inherently wrong. It says the whole earth is at rest. Go to the previous verse, verse 6. It says, he who smote the people in wrath. Who is that? That's the current oppressor. Smiting the people in wrath, as if he has any right to do so. Torturing people. Treating people harshly and unfair. Treating people with a wrath. He smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. To this day, he's still doing it. He that ruled the nations in anger, he's still doing it. Is persecuted, and none hindereth. You see that? Persecuted, and none hindereth. Nobody cares. When he goes down, nobody's going to care, because people are already getting fed up. People are going to get so tired of this evil, unfair treatment that this current oppressor is dishing out to the world, to everyone. They're going to get so tired of it. Nobody is going to stop his fall. People are going to rejoice. The whole earth will be at rest and quiet. So you can't tell me that when Israel takes on, when we get our bondmen and our bondmaids in the nation of Israel, that we're going to torture. You can't tell me that we're going to torture them and treat them just like this oppressor is treating people today. We're not like that. We're not inhumane. Come out of the programming. Deprogram your mindset. We will have foreign slaves. Yes, we will have, in the nation of Israel, there will be other nations who are our bondmen and bondmaids. And there is nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. Praise Yah. So, let's continue on back to where we were in Exodus chapter 21. So we go to Exodus chapter 21. And let's continue on. So we had to let go of our servants that we treated harshly. If you treated them harshly, you had to let them go, because the Most High didn't like to see people being tortured. The Most High don't like seeing people suffering. You had to let them go free. So we couldn't just hold them against their will all their lives and torture them. How evil is that? They wanted to work for us because they knew that they were going to be treated fairly. You understand? They were like, heck yeah. I'm going to get to eat every day. I get to be a part of something great. Yeah. I got something to live for. I have a purpose. I think it's beautiful. And those who agree, they agree. Absolutely. So let's go on. Let's get past it. Let's go to Exodus chapter 21, where we were before. And let's continue on to verse 28. Hold on a second. I got something to drink. You have to be living in your car and doing all these things people are doing, living outside on a bench. And come on now. We ain't got to do all that. But anyways, but you got to do that in this current system. You do. Okay? And then you get arrested for that. Okay? But anyways, I digress. Let's go to verse 28. It says, if an ox gore a man or a woman, that they die, then the ox shall be surely stoned, and his flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall be quit. But if the ox were wont to push with his horn in pastime or time past, and it has been testified to his owner, he has not kept them in. but that he has killed a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and his owner also shall be put to death. So, and just to go back before we go over this, to touch base, the only time with the slavery point. So the only time that our brothers, because there was a circumstance, I have to say, there was a circumstance where Hebrew Israelites would become a slave, a bondman or a bondwoman, an actual slave. And that was to pay off a debt because they stole something. So if you stole something and you couldn't repay that debt, you did have to give yourself up to servitude, bondage. You had to sell yourself into bondage in order to pay off that debt. That was for the case of thieves. If you were a thief, you understand? Which is just. That's just. That's righteous judgment, right? As if you steal something, you should have to pay it back. And if you can't pay it back, you should give up your labor in order to pay it back, right? Because you're a thief. So there were times when Hebrew Israelites were also bondmen or bondwomen. So yes, the Most High is very just. Let's go to we read verse 28 and 29 with the animal. So if you're using your animal as a weapon, essentially, like you don't care that your animal is attacking people. Like, for instance, you have people out here that have these attack dogs. They have pit bulls and these beastly breeds of dogs that go around attacking people and they don't do anything about it. Them and their dog should be put to death. Them and that animal should be put to death because you knew about this. You're just as bad as the man who smites a man without cause. Premeditated murder. You might as well be that person because you should be put to death as well. You know about your animal attacking people and you do nothing about it. That's evil, right? That's just. But if you don't know anything about it, well, it's just the animal that needs to be put to death, right? Because you can't control what's on an animal's mind. If the animal decides it wants to go crazy, then there's really nothing that you can do about that but put it to death, right? But if you know about it attacking people in the past, then something should be done about it. You shouldn't just be letting it out loose. So verse 30, if there be laid on him a sum of money, then he shall give for the ransom of his life whatsoever is laid upon him. Whether he have gored a son or have gored a daughter, according to this judgment shall it be done unto him. So that's, again, eye for an eye. You take mine, I'm going to take yours. That's just treatment. That's fairness, right? That is fair. Praise Yah. If the ox shall push a manservant or a maidservant, he shall give unto their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. So you think about, again, there's a lot of laws. The Most High, the Most High is so wonderful. The Most High has laws looking after slaves. You don't hear about that in this modern slavery and this current captivity we're in. Our ancestors that were on the plantation didn't have laws protecting them. Think about it, y'all. They didn't have laws to protect them. Like, they weren't treated like humans. It wasn't humane. They didn't have rights. You see? So, when you deconstruct what's currently been built up and how we were raised, when you deprogram your mind from crooked ways, you start to understand the bigger picture and how the Creator intended for things to be. When our ancestors were on the plantation, Anyone who was white had authority over us. You understand? Anyone who was white had authority over us. But as you can see in verse 32 of Exodus 21, you couldn't just go around thinking that you have dominion over somebody else's servants. You couldn't do that. It didn't work like that in the Most High's laws. You had to give them, what? 30 shekels of silver? Give the master 30 shekels of silver? Because that's their property, not yours. So just because that's their servant and they happen to be Hebrew, just because you're Hebrew doesn't give you dominion over their servant. That's their property. That's just like if you had somebody in your family, for instance. This is my child. This is my daughter. This is my son. They're mine. You don't have authority or dominion over my family. Are you crazy? The Most High has dominion over us all. The king makes sure that the law, the righteous law, is enforced throughout the land, and we're all supposed to also participate in that. We're supposed to perform these righteous laws as well and maintain them. But that didn't give us the right to go around to other people's homes trying to rule over in their households and what they got going on. No, that's not your right. So if you saw somebody's slave walking about in the city, you couldn't just go up to them because they're somebody's servant and you're a Hebrew and just oppress them. We don't do that. We don't practice laws like that. They're treated human just like anybody else. You understand? We're all treated with humanity like it's supposed to be. Verse 33. And if a man shall open a pit, or if a man shall dig a pit, and not cover it, and an ox or an ass fall therein, the owner of the pit shall make it good, and give money unto the owner of them, and the dead beast shall be his. That's righteous judgment. And if one man's ox hurt another's, that he dies, then they shall sell the live ox, and divide the money of it, and the dead ox also they shall divide. Or, if it be known that the ox has used to push in time past, or used to push in time past, and his owner has not kept him in, he shall surely pay ox for ox, and the dead shall be his own, because you're not being mindful of your possessions. Your ox shouldn't be over here attacking my ox. So yeah, if my ox dies, your ox belongs to me, and you keep the dead ox. And I'll train the ox, because obviously you couldn't. That's just. That's righteous treatment, right? So the Most High has covered all bases when it comes to how we deal with one another, right? How we're supposed to be civil with one another. That's beautiful. Let's move on to Exodus 22, and then we'll do another chapter, and then we'll be done. Let's go to Exodus 22, and let's read, starting at verse 1. If a man shall steal an ox or a sheep and kill it, or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox, and 4 sheep for a sheep. If a thief be found breaking up, and be smitten that he die, there shall no blood be shed for him. If the sun be risen upon him, there shall be blood shed for him. For he shall make full restitution. If he has nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. Okay, so if a thief is breaking into somebody's house at night and he gets killed, that's on him. That's not considered murder. Because you don't know who this is. This could be an enemy of another nation breaking into your house, right? Because you have to remember the times were different as well. If he's coming in and it's daytime and you can see who's in your house, you see him stealing, and you see that it's him, everybody in the community knew each other. They all knew who. That's Petey. That's the neighborhood, the local crackhead. You see what I'm saying? He's coming in here stealing. He needs to pay that back. And if he can't pay it back, he goes into bondage. He becomes a servant to pay off that debt. Right? But to kill him when he didn't come to harm you would be considered murder. That would be considered murder. You understand? That is a different time, a different era. Now, mind you, this is the laws within our land with our people. If a foreigner was breaking into your house and it's daytime and they're coming at you with a dagger, they're coming at you with a weapon, the enemy nation, of course you have the right to kill this person. They're coming to kill you. That's an enemy. You see what I'm saying? But somebody breaking in your house, that's the local crackhead, everybody knows he needs to pay that back. We didn't murder them. You made them pay it back. You correct them. And we didn't have prisons. That was your prison. You go and you serve. Okay? You pay off that debt by serving. That's what you do. That was your punishment. You understand? Because you are one of the ones who think, that's the easy way to live. Go a leech off of somebody else and take what they got. You think that's the easy way to live. You're stealing from other people and you don't see anything wrong with it. I got to get mine, so I'm going to take yours type of mentality. We didn't have that going on. We discouraged that. We condemned that mindset. We corrected that because we don't want that to corrupt the future generations. But see, now it's just so normalized. It's been normalized to be that way, to steal from people. There's no swift repercussion for that. No swift consequence for stealing. They get away with thievery all the time. But in Israel, the Most High had laws for that. You understand? You correct it. So we kept all of that bad behavior off of our streets, off of our roads. We didn't condone that type of behavior. We had consequences for it. And you either clean yourself up and get your act right, get your act together, or you're punished. Simple as that. But we didn't lock you in a cage, and we certainly didn't murder you. Okay? Because you didn't murder somebody. So what you getting murdered for? You see what I'm saying? You didn't do something that's a crime that's worthy of death. Let me put it that way. Because even if you don't murder somebody, there are still crimes worthy of death. Like pedophilia. You understand? Incest. Sleeping with mothers and fathers and children and uncles and aunts. You understand? There's still crimes worthy of death, even if you did not kill. Adultery. That's one of them. Worshipping idols. That's another one. There's plenty of crimes. Breaking the Sabbath commandment. All of that. So, yeah, there were no prisons, but there was swift judgment. And there was a righteous judgment for every law broken. And every law kept. So, let's keep on reading. Verse 4. If the theft be certainly found in his hand alive, whether it be ox or ass or sheep, he shall restore double. If a man shall cause a field or vineyard to be eaten, and shall put in his beast, and shall feed in another man's field, of the best of his own field, and of the best of his own vineyard, shall he make restitution. So, you got to pay for the things that you take. Period. Even if your animals take it. You got to pay for the things that were taken from somebody else without their permission. Makes sense to me. If fire break out and catch in thorns, so that the stacks of corn, or the standing corn, or the field, be consumed therewith, he that kindled the fire shall surely make restitution. If a man shall deliver unto his neighbor money or stuff to keep, and it be stolen out of the man's house, if the thief be found, let him pay double. If the thief be not found, then the master of the house shall be brought unto the judges, to see whether he have put his hand unto his neighbor's goods. For all manner of trespass, whether it be for ox, for ass, for sheep, for raiment, or for any manner of lost thing, which another challengeth to be his, the cause of both parties shall come before the judges, and whom the judges shall condemn. He shall pay double unto his neighbor. If a man deliver unto his neighbor an ass, or an ox, or a sheep, or any beast to keep, and it die, or be hurt, or driven away, no man seeing it, then shall an oath of YAH be between them, that he has not put his hand unto his neighbor's goods, and the owner of it shall accept thereof, and he shall not make it good. So no matter how you feel about it, if the Most High is determined that the person is innocent, you have to accept that. You have to accept that. Even if you say, well, I left this here with you and I trusted you and now it's gone and I think it was you and I'm side-eyeing you and I'm suspicious. If the Most High determined that the person is innocent, they're innocent. End of story. Your eyes were not on it, so you have no proof that this person did it. You have no evidence. Their eyes were not on it, and the Most High saw all things. And if they didn't do it, they didn't do it. And it's as simple as that. Verse 12. And if it be stolen from him, he shall make restitution unto the owner thereof. So if the owner, if it was stolen, then this person has to pay back, right? Verse 13. If it be torn in pieces, then let him bring it for witness, and he shall not make good that which was torn. And if a man borrow aught of his neighbor, and it be hurt or die, the owner thereof being not with it, he shall surely make it good. But if the owner thereof be with it, he shall not make it good. If it be a hired thing, it came for his hire. So he paid through it already because you leased something out to him, right? And so he paid by leasing it. He's already been paying a fee to you, right? And so that's making it right. And that covers the damages. And see how all of these laws bite off of the Most High's laws that were already established. These laws were already established. They just weren't being enforced. To this day, they're not enforced. Because still, people show favoritism in the court of law. And certain people can get away with things that others can't. And that's not how it's supposed to be. Verse 16. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed, and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. If her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. You understand? So you can't trick a woman out of her womanhood and then run off and be a player play and expect no consequence after that. That's not how the Most High does things. Verse 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. And we know why we don't suffer witches to live. People ask those questions they ask that question all the time. Why don't we suffer a witch to live? If you look into witchcraft, if you look into things that are acceptable in witchcraft, it's at odds with the Most High's laws. In witchcraft, you can be promiscuous. In witchcraft, you can sacrifice abominable things. In witchcraft, some forms of witchcraft, you can sacrifice your children. Okay, so it's like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. No, we're not going to accept witchcraft. We're not going to do that. Because everything that they do in witchcraft corrupts society. We know that in witchcraft, it corrupts the men, right? A lot of witches corrupt men. A lot of witches corrupt women. They corrupt the children, the family structure. How do we know this? Because if you look at Hollywood, you'll see that, right? Just look at Hollywood. Witchcraft corrupts a society. So we don't practice that. We don't do that. We don't suffer a wish to live. Simple as that. Verse 19. Whosoever lieth with a beast shall surely be put to death. Why? Because a beast, someone who lies with a beast, is likened to a person who preys on children. Okay? We don't have predators in our society. We don't harm innocent creatures, innocent beings. We don't do that. We don't do that in our society. You will be put to death because you are degenerate. You are a sodomite. And sodomites, they practice deviant sexual behavior. We don't have deviant sexual behavior in the land of Israel. We don't practice that. That's not something we practice. Okay? In verse 20, it reads, "He that sacrificeth unto any god, save unto YAH only, he shall be utterly destroyed." Because that's a direct offense to the Creator. You are serving an idol. You're putting a god above your Creator. And that is severe punishment. Severe punishment. Because now you're going by your own rules. We don't do that. We're not going by our own rules. We have to understand. Oh, man. Trying to get the average person to see this is like pulling teeth. We don't go by our own rules. We go by the rules of YAH. Period. You have the opposite of us. You have doppelgangers teaching you to go by the Project 2025 handmade evangelical rules. Okay? They bite off of, can't you see this is like yin and yang? They bite off of the Most High's laws with a little bit of truth, and then they twist it and pervert it. That's what they do. But when you're dealing with the Most High, all of the righteous laws have to be enforced. All of the righteous laws have to be practiced. Not some of them, and then you go off and you can do corrupt things behind closed doors because you're in a position of leadership. That's not how it works. All of us have to abide by these righteous laws. Simple as that. Or you'll suffer the consequences. Period. Okay, so in verse, and yes, it will be handled. There is no, what if you don't know this or you don't know that? It will be handled. Because in corruption, it usually takes more than one party to corrupt many. Okay? It takes more than one. So when you have one person doing something that is corrupt and it is found out, now don't get it twisted. They don't have to be found out by the other people around them. The Most High can handle it on the Most High's time alone. The Most High doesn't have to, and the Most High can bring and does bring swift judgment. And it doesn't have to be found out by anyone. That person can end up mauled by beast. Anything can happen because this person is breaking the Most High's laws. The Most High is going to judge that person accordingly. In a righteous world, swift judgment, we're not used to seeing swift judgment. So it's kind of odd when you read about it, because when you try to put it into perspective, it's like, well, that's like the perfect world and that's like impossible. And it's not realistic. It's not something that we see every day. But when you put it into the bigger picture and you see it in action, it's easier to understand. It's easier to see it, right? The Most High will deliver swift judgment in the Most High's kingdom. That's a given, obviously, right? So whatever is being found out, or whatever this individual is doing is found out by man or found out by the Most High, or it's already going to be known by the Most High, swift judgment will take place. You understand? So when you are doing something that's corrupt in a righteous society, in order to try and taint the moral fiber of society, you're going to have partners in crime. That's a given, right? And so having partners in crime causes you to be found out a lot quicker than if you're doing something individually that the Most High can just off you, and he can just off and kill everybody that's involved as well, but the Most High allows us to enforce these laws as well, because this is something we should want to do to keep the order and the peace. We should want to conduct ourselves in a civilized, righteous manner. And so when you have partners in crime, things get found out a lot quicker because you have to have a team, right? And you also have to have victims, right? In order to taint the moral fiber of society, because your victim would be the society. And so if society is not in agreement and those around you who are righteous, we're living in a righteous world, remember, they find out about it, swift punishment again is taken. Swift punishment again is given. You understand? So there will be no wickedness or corruption flourishing in the kingdom of YAH. It's impossible. It cannot happen. Period. So you rest assured, you don't have to panic, and you don't have to feel like I can't trust and all of you. You'll be healed. You'll be fine. Work on your healing. Work on practicing righteousness and doing the right thing before YAH, and you'll be okay. Okay? Don't worry about what the wicked are doing today. This is how we've been raised. We see it all the time. It's nothing new. This is old. It's been happening. It's old and it's dying off. It's not going to continue to happen. Most High's kingdom is not going to be like this. So don't feel hopeless, right? Because you haven't been able to trust people in your life. You haven't been able to trust in so long. In the Most High's kingdom, you trust in YAH, right? We trust because things will be righteous. So let's continue in verse 20 or verse 21. Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. So we're not oppressing. I don't know how many times I can say this. We're not oppressing the stranger. We're not oppressing our bondmen and our bondmaids. We're not oppressing people. That's not how the Most High's program looks. We don't oppress people. That's not righteous. It's not humane. Again, right? Verse 22. Ye shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. Do you hear this? If thou afflict them in any wise, and they cry at all unto me, I shall surely hear their cry. And my wrath shall wax hot, and I will kill you with my sword. And your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. Because, again, we don't have predators in our society. We don't condone predatory behavior. Just because you're looking at this woman and her child as if they are not protected doesn't give you the right to attack them. There is a severe consequence for doing such things. You understand? So again, this is a righteous society. We carry out righteous laws, and you can trust these laws because they're actually going to be performed. They're actually going to be enforced once the Most High establishes his kingdom. Praise YAH. So let's go to verse 25. If you lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as a usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury. So you're not going to collect interest from your people when they take a loan from you. If thou at all take thy neighbor's raiment to pledge, thou shalt deliver it unto him by that the sun goeth down. For that is his covering only. It is his raiment for his skin. Wherein shall he sleep? And it shall come to pass, when he crieth unto me, that I will hear, for I am gracious. So if you take someone's blanket for collateral, if you take somebody's whatever because of in place of repayment for a loan, right? You deliver that back to them, that blanket back to them, because they're poor and that's all they have. It's say it's wintertime and it's cold and they need that blanket to go to sleep. You give it to them before the sun goes down. Because again, we're not inhumane. But see, when you're dealing with an inhumane system like we're dealing with today, they don't care that you're poor. They don't care. I Are you serious? They don't care that you're freezing in the cold. Pay me back. I don't care what you got to do to get it back. I don't care what laws you have to break or how much of your body you have to sell to pay me back. You pay me back. That's a filthy society. Who wants to live in a society like that? Ugh. Right? Who wants to live like that? But anyways, verse 28. Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the ruler of your people. So, we're not supposed to be cursing the rulers of our people, our judges, the people who are ruling over us. We don't curse them, right? What you cursing them for? For what? Righteous judgment is being laid out in the earth. What are you angry about? If you have a matter that you want to bring forth, if you have a grievance, you bring it forth to the judges. And you open your mouth. And it'll be resolved. Whatever issue you're having. It'll be investigated, looked into, and we'll resolve it. Our people will resolve it, right? Don't come to the rulers of the people and don't go to the rulers of the people cursing them. Why would we have that mindset? See, we have that mindset with the rulers of today because they're corrupt, they're evil, they're not just. And I could understand that. But the righteous rulers, why would you want to curse them when you're being blessed? That doesn't even make sense, right? So this is why we have to be mindful of our ways, no matter what position we're in the Most High's kingdom. Whether we're rich, whether we're poor, whether we're a ruler, whether we're not, whether we're a handmaid, a bondmaid, a servant, or whatever position we're playing, right? Whatever position we're playing, we have to be mindful of our own ways. And we have to be the best at whatever position the Most High has given us to be in. We got to be the best at our roles. That's the goal. We want to be the best. If I'm a bondmaid, you understand? I'm going to be the best bondmaid. You, what? In the Most High's kingdom? See, in this system, you couldn't get me to do that. Because I already know you're working for a wicked ruler. You couldn't get me to do that. You understand? I'm not about to break the Most High's laws in bondage. I don't care who you are. I'm not going to break. You're not going to get me to break the Most High's laws in bondage. I'm not doing it. You're going to have to kill me. But in the Most High's kingdom, where everything is righteous and there are righteous laws, I'll be the best servant. What? I'll be the best whatever position the Most High has me in the Most High's kingdom. Whatever position the Most High would have me in the Most High's kingdom. Because it would be a blessing just to make it there. Do you understand? That's a blessing in itself. So, let's continue on. And let's read verse 29. Thou shalt not delay to offer the first of thy ripe fruits and of thy liquors. The firstborn of thy sons shalt thou give unto me. Likewise shalt thou do with thine oxen and with thy sheep. 7 days it shall be with his dam. On the 8th day thou shalt give it to me. And ye shall be holy men unto me. Neither shall you eat any flesh that is torn of beasts in the field. Ye shall cast it to the dogs. Makes sense. You want to eat behind a scavenger. Who would want to do that? That makes plenty of sense. They've shred this animal to pieces, sunk in their scavenger teeth into it. Bacteria is being set in. They're unclean now. So the thing that was clean is no longer clean. And then you're eating behind a scavenger. You understand? You're eating behind something that's filthy. We don't do that. Right? Let's move on. And let's read this last chapter. Exodus 23. I want to go over more laws after this in the next video. But we're just going to stop at Exodus 23 here. We're going to read this and then we'll end it. In Exodus chapter 23, it reads, "Thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. Neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment. Neither shalt thou countenance a poor man in his cause." So, you know this is righteous. you know these are righteous laws because you don't have to tell the wicked that. You would have to tell someone who's righteous that. Think about it. If you have someone who's wicked and they're judging the poor, they're automatically going to side with who's not poor. Automatically. That's how the system works. But when you're in a righteous world, the Most High has to remind you not to take someone's side just because they're poor. You're showing more favor than needs to be shown to this person just because they're poor. Don't do that. You'd have to stop a righteous person from that. You don't have to stop a wicked person. A wicked person's going to be like, they're poor. Oh, that's all I needed to hear. Like, that is it. They're going to do exactly opposite of how a righteous person would judge. You know? So, yeah. Don't take a poor person's side just because they're poor. Right? Judge fairly in all situations. Verse 4. "If thou meet thine enemy's ox or his ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again. If thou see the ass of him that hateth thee lying under his burden, and wouldest forbear to help him, thou shalt surely help with him. Thou shalt not wrest the judgment of thy poor in his cause. Keep thee far from a false matter. And the innocent and the righteous slay thou not. For I will not justify the wicked. And thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise, and perverteth the words of the righteous." So, the Most High is telling us here, it's good to build a good rapport, even with your enemy. That's wise. You see their animal in distress, you help it. You understand? Because this is how you build good relationships. That's how you build good relationships, by being the bigger person. You understand? Be the bigger person. Don't be petty. No, that's my enemy, so I'm not gonna help their animal that's in distress. And an enemy is someone you disagree with. You understand? Don't get it twisted. In this case, you understand? Because you have different types of enemies. I'm not talking about the type of enemy that killed your kids. You know what I'm saying? That enemy should be put to death. They shouldn't even be walking around to have an ass to help, to have an ox to support. No. We're talking about enemies that you're in disagreement with. You might not get along for whatever reason. No, you help that enemy's animal. You understand? Because remember, there's laws for everything. There's laws for everything. And as long as we're practicing these laws, we have peace. Real peace. And it feels good. And it's not tiring. It won't make you feel weary, because you're going to be healthy and you will be healed. And the Most High will restore us. And we'll want to practice these laws. We'll be ready to practice these laws. We'll be up for practicing these laws. We'll be excited to practice these laws. And we desire these laws. You understand? Because we know they're right. We know that they're good. Verse 9. Also, thou shalt not oppress a stranger, for ye know the heart of a stranger, seeing you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Do you see how many times the Most High reiterates that? We are not oppressors. We're not oppressors. We're not oppressors. So saying that we are wrong for having bondmen and bondmaids and servants is not right. You're not right. Because we're not oppressors. And those who will be the bondmen and bondmaids understand that. Those who will be servants understand that. We understand that. You understand? Because we all have a mutual agreement. We all look out for each other. This is a beautiful society. We uplift one another. We help each other. You understand? So don't come over here talking about our ways are not right. The most high's ways are not right. YAH's laws are not righteous. When your ways are not righteous. Man's ways are not right. Because we don't do things the right way. Verse 10. In 6 years thou shalt sow thy land, and shalt gather in the fruits thereof. But the 7th year thou shalt let it rest, and lie still, that the poor of thy people may eat. And what they leave the beasts of the field shall eat. In like manner thou shalt deal with thy vineyard and with thy olive yard. So those who have resources in abundance, and you can, listen, let me tell you, these people had resources. These are not people who are a poor nation. This is not a poor nation. This is a very rich nation. They have resources and they can allow people to eat for free. There is no, you have to pay for all of your food all the time. There is none of that. You understand? We take care of the people. You have to let the people eat out of your own vineyard. You understand? Out of your own olive yard. You have to let people eat. The poor eat out of it. This is how we roll. This is how we operate. You understand? And this is not something that can be taken away by the stroke of a pen. Okay? This is not a law that can be done away with. This is something we have to do forever. We have to do this. We have to practice this forever. Letting people eat for free. You understand? Because people have that right to eat for free on the earth. They just do. Let the poor graze that field at that time. And then everything that's left after the poor are done, the beast will eat it. You understand? And that's how we do things. Verse 12. 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the 7th day thou shalt rest, that thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thy handmaid, thine ass may or the son of thy handmaid, and the stranger may be refreshed. So everybody has to get refreshed. Everybody has to rejuvenate. Everybody has to rest. Everybody is allowed that opportunity. There's no burnout. There's none of that. We can all rest. Okay? Verse 13. And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee, in the time appointed of the month of Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. That's including your manservants, your maidservants, nobody. Everybody has something to offer. because this is a festivity. This is a festival. This is a holy day. What they have, they call holidays today. This is what we celebrate in the land of Israel. And everybody partakes. Everybody's a part of the festivities. Okay? Everybody. There's certain laws even within certain festivities, of course, pertaining to the heathen and the Israelite and all of that. But everybody gets to acknowledge the holy days of Yah. Everybody takes part in the blessings. Praise Yah. Verse 16. In the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in thy labors out of the field. 3 times in the year all thy males shall appear before Yah Elohim. Thou, before Master Elohim, thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread. Neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until the morning. The first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring into the house of Yah thy Elohim. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. So there's laws pertaining to how we cook things. And we're going to go over those dietary laws, but not today, but we're going to go over it, right? We're going to go over it. Praise Yah. I love reading the laws and the word of Yah. It just feels good. So verse 20, because you could see a brighter future, you know. Verse 20, behold, I see an angel, or I will send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions. For my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies, and an adversary unto thine adversaries. For mine angel shall go before thee, and bring thee in unto the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works. But thou shalt utterly overthrow them, and quite break down their images. And ye shall serve Yah your Elohim, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. There shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren. In thy land, the number of thy days I will fulfill. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come. And I will make all thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. And I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before thee. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beasts of the field multiply against thee. By little and little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land. And I will set thy bounds from the Red Sea even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert unto the river. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto you. And that's all I needed to hear. Praise Yah. If you serve their gods, it's a trap. If you serve their gods, that'll be your downfall. If you serve their gods, that's the end of your blessing. That's all I needed to hear. You understand? But see, our people, we didn't understand because we were so spoiled. We had everything we ever wanted. We had everything in abundance. And so we took the Most High's righteous laws for granted. We didn't know what it would look like when everything would be turned upside down until it was. And that's very unfortunate. The Most High has a program for us to go by. The Most High has a beautiful program that's already been set in place. You understand? So the Most High, this is a mutual, it's a give and take relationship. It's reciprocal, right? You give your righteousness, and in return you receive righteousness. You give wickedness, and in return you receive wickedness. That's the relationship we have with the Creator. It's very natural. It flows very naturally, right? And if we stop making things so complicated, we could see the positive results of the good that we do. Until then, we have to practice these laws. We have to study these laws, right? So that we can show the Creator that we understand the importance of the Most High's laws and why this should be the only law throughout the land. We have to cherish these laws because we didn't cherish them before. So I hope somebody got something from this Bible study. All glory goes to the Elohim. All glory, all glory, all glory, and only to the Creator. There is no God besides the one who created us, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Praise Yah for these righteous laws. Praise Yah for his righteous judgment. Bless the Most High's servants. Bless Yah, hallelujah, always and forever. I love you all. And Yah willing, we'll come back with another live going over more of the Most High's great laws. Hallelujah and shalom.